congratulations on a big victory. I know this was kind of a weird situation for you, right? You said it, like, I got to be the enemy. Like, I'd be cheering for Fedor if I could. So I guess, what was the energy like this week knowing that, like, I got to go out there and be the bad guy and ruin this guy's retirement fight?
It's not necessarily being the bad guy. It's like the pressure that's put on you because you're supposed to win. You did it in 35 seconds. You know, he's this old, all that kind of stuff. You know, but I know how dangerous he is, you know, and you know, him in there winging those punches at me too, that hard right hand, you know, it's going to knock anybody out if it connects, you know. So I think that's the biggest part of it, kind of was the pressure of, you know, you're supposed to go in there and beat him soundly, you know, and luckily I did, you know. So I kept my head down and was like, all right, I'm just going to go do my job, what I do every single time, and not worry about anything else. But, I mean, yeah, I knew walking in there, you know, his last fight, it wasn't going to be a pro Bader crowd.
Yeah. How did things play out versus your expectations? I mean, you caught him again. I guess he was a little more resilient on the ground this time, but I guess how did things play out versus your expectations?
Yeah, you know, we're kind of obviously waiting for that right hand, right? It's pretty sneaky, and that was my biggest thing in camp is keeping him guessing, you know, and like his last two fights, the guys he's fighting, like bigger guys, slower, you know, and kind of standing in front of him. So I wanted to move. I wanted to keep him on his toes so he couldn't plant and throw. And when he threw, you know, the 2 or 3 hard right hands, and they were hard, you know, I saw him, you know, and I saw everything in there, you know, and I saw when he was about to throw. That's what I took away from the first fight. You know, if you kind of look at the video, I was trying to find the line where he was going to blitz me, you know, throw that right hand and follow it with the hook and all that. And I did find that line, and I hit him with the hook. So I took that into this fight, knowing like, hey, if I cross that line, I'm either throwing and getting out, or I'm looking for a takedown, or I'm moving my head, you know, or whatnot.
You get the job done, and then there's that amazing celebration, right? I know it's for him, of course, but
yeah,
you're a part of it, right? And all those legends are there. Can you tell us what that moment was like, being a part of all that?
Yeah, it was so cool, you know, especially being on CBS, you know, huge platform. And then to see all those guys in one cage, it's pretty surreal, you know, and just to be a part of that too, you know. That's, you know, when it ended, you know, went up to Fedor and talked to him a little bit. And yeah, you know, it is bittersweet. You know, he's a legend. He's one of my favorite fighters for sure, you know. But I had a job to do, and that's what I did, you know. But at the end of the day, that was a cool way to go out for him. You know, they did a really good job with that.
Last thing for me, what's next for you now, right? I mean, I feel like you probably got out of there unscathed. Is it some time off? Is it book again quickly? What's the move?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know who's next. That's the thing. You know, I would like some new blood. You know, feels like I keep kind of recycling a little bit, you know, and that is because these guys are good and they work their way back up and they deserve the shot, you know, but I haven't really even thought about it. Just kind of joined tonight and then just kind of see. I would love some new blood. I know Moldavsky and Linton Vassell are fighting pretty soon, and that would be the logical one. But you know, what are they fighting, end of March or something? You know, so I don't know. Some new blood would be nice, but I don't know who.
Ryan, kind of tailing off of that. I mean, who would you say is the second best heavyweight, like regardless of their position in this division, or you know, would it be Moldavsky? Do you think like he's the toughest test for you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a hard fight. Close fight. Yeah, I mean, I think him and Linton Vassell are right there, you know, and they're fighting, you know, and like I said, I fought both of them. We'd be recycling again. But, yeah, I'd probably say Moldavsky just based on that he beat Linton the last time. But Linton's been on a tear, too, and I think that was his first heavyweight fight when he fought Moldavsky, you know, so maybe, you know, found a way to deal with that heavyweight body and you know, you get a little more tired if you put on a lot of muscle and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, I mean, logically that would be kind of next, but maybe there's something else. I don't know.
What are your goals for this year? That's obviously the first card for Bellator and you're headlining, so trying to stay active.
Yeah, stay active, just keep winning, you know. I kind of take these fights kind of one at a time. You know, because if you're always looking in the future and you know, something happens and it derails you, you know, and gets in your head. So, you know, Fedor was on my mind since whenever we signed that contract, you know, and and got that job done. And now it's kind of just like I've been saying. Yeah, those guys are waiting, they're fighting, but is there anybody else? I don't know.
Thanks.
Hey, Ryan, back here. Over here. You're about 100 days away from being the longest tenured champion in Bellator history. Are you planning to lay low for a little bit with that belt?
Yeah, I'm going to wait till 101 days and I'm going to fight again. At heavyweight, too. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. It feels like every card we got a bunch of guys from Extreme Couture, Jackson Wink, ATT, all these gyms. But you train at Power MMA in Mesa, Arizona with Coach Jair. Yeah. Short list of guys, you and Sullivan Colley.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be an example of you don't have to go to one of these super gyms to make it to the top?
Yeah, you don't. If you came to our gym, right? We had a big gym in Gilbert and open to public and all that kind of stuff. And then the lease got crazy, and when we were trying to renew, and so we moved into this like kind of warehouse. And if you pull into the gym, it says Lee's Auto Body on the window.
It does.
And that's where we train. You know, we have mats down in there, and we have a cage in there. We have some weight equipment, and it's only just invite only pros, and we get together and train. And I kind of watch these guys. I remember seeing Rashad would build a team around him, and bring guys in that he needs to bring in. So I have good guys around me. I have a good coaching staff, and so for this one, Jordan Johnson right there in that great sweatshirt behind you, fought in the UFC and PFL. He kind of looks like Fedor too, huh?
He does.
He's like 250. He can emulate Fedor. He's got the body type, for good or for better, whatever. And he's got a bottle of whiskey right now. Yeah. So he's been awesome. I'll do that, right? And then when I fought Congo, I brought in the Mountain from Brazil, 6'6", black belt, good striking. So I just try to bring in a couple guys that are there for me. And then we always have young Sully running around, you think he's 26 years old, so he's full of piss and vinegar and wanting to get crazy all the time. I'm the old man, so I got to calm him down here and there. But I have a good group around me and a good coaching staff. And so I don't need to go to these super gyms. And I feel like, not to be selfish, but when it's time to fight, it's great to have the focus on you and build a team around you, and then I'm here to help solely and stuff like that when it's his turn.
Back to the gym for a second. I just want to say the first time I came to Power, I thought it was an IKEA, so it definitely does.
Yeah, exactly.
On a more serious note, you just defeated Fedor for the second time. Main event, CBS, heavyweight championship on the line. Big moment for you in your career. The world wants to know, where do you get your memes from? Do you create them yourself? I
just steal them from everybody else, my wife sometimes. If you haven't followed her, she's pretty good with the memes too. But yeah, I have fun with it, and then I stopped posting them for a little bit, and I got like hate mail in my messages, so I'm like, all right, I'll give you some memes.
Hey, Ryan. You said you want some new challenges. There is Francis Ngannou out there just kind of looking for a new home. Is that a fight that you welcome?
I kind of talked about this the other time. Like when he signs a contract or whatever, then we could talk about it. I mean, he's Tyson Fury's calling him out and all that. I assume he's going to go box. Once he signs with Bellator, we can kind of cross that bridge. But I'm looking to fight before that. So if it happens down the road, cool. But yeah, we'll kind of see on that.
Do you have a favorite Fedor memory or fight?
No, not really like one fight in particular. I just remember him getting slammed by Randleman, and coming back. And he was always just so stoic and all that, and you can never read him. That's the thing. You get in there and you're like, he's stoic, no expression. You talk to him, he's a super nice guy, respectful. But yeah, I came up. He's one of my favorite fighters, of all time. So to be able to go in that cage and share that with him twice is pretty special. And looking back in my career.
And one of your past foes, John Jones, is moving up to heavyweight. Mm-hmm. And as someone who came from light heavyweight to heavyweight, how do you think he's going to do?
He actually hit me up and he was in Arizona a little bit, training a little bit, and I was during camp and it didn't make sense. But I think I think it's a great matchup for him too. with his wrestling, and I don't know how to really pronounce his name, Cyril Gane. I think he takes care of business pretty easily on that one.
Ryan, to your left, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
We talked about sportsmanship and Fedor's idea of sportsmanship and how you have similar ideas. What can fighters learn from him, and how rare is it for him and guys like you to make your way up without participating in that side of the sport, but really sort of relying on your competitive successes to get people interested in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of double-edged sword, right? Nowadays, you get people all about the social media likes and all that kind of stuff, and doing outrageous stuff and talking the most smack. I think Connor came in and they saw that he made a lot of money doing that, and so guys that would never be talking shit ever all of a sudden are spurting off and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, that's not you. And I get it. I'm not hating on it at all. I just never was that guy. Neither was Fedor. I grew up wrestling, and there's none of that really in wrestling. And we just went out there and let the competition, let those fights, let those wrestling matches do the talking, and that's how I still am. And so it was nice this fight week to have another guy like that, nothing but respect, and we just go do our thing, and it's respect before and respect after, and we try to kill each other in the cage.
It's about being the best, right?
Exactly.
So, Francis, that should seem like a fight that should really get you excited, but I'm not getting that from you. Is it just because you're muted, he's not signed, or how do you feel about a matchup with Francis Ngannou? Yeah,
it's one of those things where he's not signed. First off, I don't think he's going to come here, but if he does, awesome. I think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world, and you get to go out there and prove that go out there and beat him, and there's no question. Like, okay, I'm legit. Even though people are always going to talk and this and that. So yeah, it's just one of those things where. If a deal's signed, cool. We can talk about it then. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of the ones down the road for sure.
Do you have a pitch to him? Come to Bellator. I want to fight you. Anything?
Oh, I don't really care.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whether you fight him or not doesn't matter too much to you.
Not too much. I fought everybody in this whole damn sport, I don't know. It's just not one of those things where I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this. I'm just going out there. Who's next? Cool. Do my job. Get my paycheck.
One of the biggest fights you'd ever have. Like, you fought Fedor twice.
Yeah.
It still is not, really tickling you.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
It really, no fight really tickles me. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's what I do. I shut this sport off when I leave here. And when I go in the gym, I train and do my job. And that's my 40th fight tonight. When I was younger, it was all about MMA. And it's become, I'm a competitor at heart. And so I love to go and compete, and then I switch it off, and I'm a, father, husband, friend, all that outside. But, with this sport, I try not to let it take up too much bandwidth in my head, because it has done that in the past. And so, yeah, it's kind of one of those things I'll leave here, not even think about it for a long time. I'll go in and train my butt off when I'm in the gym. But it's one of those things.
Lastly, from me, Fedor talked about pressure, and we talked about that, and he was talking about that, going through camp and feeling all that, and he couldn't hold up to it anymore. How much longer do you have? How much longer do you do this? You still feel good? You can handle all that? What are your plans?
Yeah, I feel good, but I'm not going to be fighting well into my 40s. A couple years maybe. So we'll see. I am one of those guys that you'll never hear me say, "Hey, this is my last fight." Because I think once you do that, you're kind of halfway out the door. And, if a fight gets hard or this and that, and you're like, well, I'm done anyway, I've seen a lot of guys do that. And so for me, it's one of those things where I'm obviously at the best of my game right now. I train hard. I can train hard. I'm healthy. And it's one of those deals, I'll just make that decision when the time. But it's not 5 years from now, I'll tell you that. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Kay Williams for Can Chronicles Media. After each match, I can imagine there's a quest to get better, whether you win or lose. Can you express to some of the takeaways in tonight's match against Fedor?
For me, it's kind of like every time I leave a cage, it's more of like believe in yourself more, I would say, because you are that good. Because I think every fighter has doubts certain times in camp or fight week or day of or whatnot. And like I said, this fight was kind of one of those fights where felt like a lot of pressure because, I should go out there and beat him and all that kind of stuff. But, that's what I take away. I'm like, all right, I went out there. I saw everything, I could see when he was about to throw, all that kind of stuff, and if you look back at his fights, the guys that have stood in front of him, for the most part, besides myself and maybe Mitrione in the past however many years, they've gotten knocked out standing in front of him, and, I went out there and TKO'd him, from the feet, then put him on the ground, obviously, and ground pound him. But, it's more of like take away, believe in myself, and go out there and bring that into that next fight.
One quick one from me. So being a former Grand Prix winner, current champ, would you put that belt up on the line for another shot at that $1 million?
In like a Grand Prix kind of deal?
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah, that $1 million wasn't on the line when we did the Grand Prix, though. Let's talk to Bellator about that. Maybe a little back pay or something. No, they treat me good anyway, so I'm not complaining. But, that would be kind of fun. That's some new blood, I guess. I don't know if something they want to do, but we'll see.
Thanks, champ.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.